My, oh my. On the air is on the air. Little Tommy, Rusty Nailz, I'm Sully, and can I just interrupt this intro song for... There you go, right?
There it is.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
What are those feet I'm singing on?
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Bob.
But I love the Christmas holiday set.
You like this? At the Loft 100 Studios.
Yes, it is, by the
Sunny
way.
San Diego, California.
Hey, you know, the Loft 100 Studios is new to the Carlsbad area because I used to come up here just for In-N-Out burgers.
Yeah.
What the
Excuse
hell
me,
happened?
do you, is there like a fire?
Yeah, don't touch it, man. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Anyway, new studios. These are the Loft 100. Who's looking at me? Loft 100 Studios. This is where we make the show. And I'd like to have someday, when we're all better, which is a couple weeks, we're going to have a live audience in here, right? Do like bands
One day.
and stuff. One day.
Can I ask you? I've been on the air with Rusty on another show for many, many years, and I can tell you that you're happier this time of year than normal because
Christmas is long, long ago.
normally you're kind of it's like
Well, I do have to.
so there's this philosophy Russ has that not a lot of people know.
Well,
It's called sowing the seeds of resentment during Halloween.
that's right.
Want to talk about it?
Well, first you start out on Halloween, you insult the person that you're with.
You're talking about the person you're dating?
Or wife, or husband, but you insult them so that by Thanksgiving they're still kind of miffed, but then you throw one at them there, like it's enough mashed potato.
And the reason you do this?
Because they're going to be mad you don't have to buy them a gift at Christmas.
Oh, so you start sowing the seeds
Yeah.
of resentment
See,
early.
Not only that, but then you continue it till the day after Valentine's Day. So there's the chocolate, the rose is a big expense.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm saving over $600,000 a year.
Genius. Genius.
That's nothing really.
All right, great to
Hey,
have
can I do a shout out to someone?
I hope you do.
I just want to say a happy birthday to Frank Sinatra, who's turning 105 years old.
This is him now.
Huh?
Actually, it's
He was a San Diegan. Frank Sinatra.
Frank
though.
Sinatra, born in Hoboken, New Jersey, on this date, December 12th, 1915.
You know, he used to drink his beer. This is a great story.
Okay.
From wine glasses. Someone asked him why. He said, because I've never seen bartenders cleaning beer glasses quite as thoroughly.
Oh, as wine glasses.
As they do wine glasses.
So let me tell you what we're going to do here. So for the next 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks,
Three
we're
weeks.
going to feature some of our favorite moments here on the air, and we've had such a great time here on KUSI. This week, we get to, and it's
Today.
It's today. At some point along the way, we got to speak to every single cast member on Dave, Shelley, and Chainsaw.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this week we're doing Dave, Shelley, and Chainsaw Best Of. We're going to get to talk to Dave Rickards, Shelley Dunn, Cookie Chainsaw Randolph, and Chris Boyer. And next week, I believe we're doing, who are we doing next week?
The show.
With Eddie, Sky, Thor, and Emily.
Yes, and then Star 94.1 with Jesse, Tati, Shelley, and Delana.
Okay, and then we'll start up again in 2021.
But
and,
has it's 2020.
Yeah.
The DSC celebrating 30 years on the air this year. You know, now Shelley has been, retired for a while.
Yeah.
But they have Emily, they have Sarah, they have...
They're still going strong. Cookie.
Anna.
We had such a great time with them in the studio. In fact, I think, and we need to get Dave back into this studio because I want to point out that a lot of this was shot before the pandemic, so you may see us a a little closer to each other. And you might even notice that we were in our old studios for some of the interviews, but which makes me think that we had to get Dave Rickards into his studio here.
He is so cool. I want to be Dave Rickards.
I want
to
be Dave Rickards too.
But you know what happens is that we get them all together and they start talking about how they got in, each in a different way, but they do share one common story. I think we got them to all talk about the prank.
Yeah.
Like one of the best.
Yeah, the April Fool's prank.
On the list of radio pranks, you would know.
Yeah.
Radio Hall of Fame producer.
I'm jealous of that. I mean, they
what were you guys doing that day?
The helmet flag.
No, that was another good one.
But it's an iconic segment, an iconic bit, a radio bit.
Yeah.
And it's the space shuttle bit.
Space shuttle bit with DSC.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it started and let's have a chat with Dave Rickards from DSC coming up here right here on the air. Because it is the most wonderful time.
The most wonderful freaking time.
Are you sanitizing your hands or are you warming them up?
COVID proof. I'm out of my face! Somebody help me!
Valdez, nothing.
Let me tell you something about this guy. April 1st, 1990, the start of the Dawn Patrol right here in San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Then they went into the DSC, and they are still on today. But April 1st, 1990, that's day one. But you did something else on April 1st that is the best bit.
Oh my gosh, I remember this.
The history
The shuttle.
of radio.
The shuttle.
Space shuttle.
The shuttle.
Can you tell us about that space shuttle on April Fool's?
Yes, I can. There's a particularly good story about that. April 1st is our anniversary, and April Fool's Day is fun on radio. And so if it happens to fall on a weekday, we try to do something stupid. And sometimes they just, I don't know what happens, they just take
Go
off.
viral.
They do. And as you know, because I'm a rookie compared to you two guys, you've been here long before I did. Sometimes the audience takes over, and they make it so much more believable. And we just thought, well, wouldn't it be fun if we said that the space shuttle had a little glitch, and instead of landing wherever it lands, and I don't even know where the hell it lands, we decided it would land at Montgomery Field. And so this was back in 1992 or 1993. And so we had called up to mission control, whatever it is, and we asked a couple questions to make it sound legitimate. We played some sound effects in the background, make it sound legitimate. That's it. That's all it was, really. I mean, it sounded so much better than what it really was, which was Chainsaw going on a telephone. This is Commander Burns. And but the true crowning moment was Chris Boyer being the sound of mission control.
Before we let you out of here, can I just ask, were you the one that went off script on the
space
shuttle
shuttle
landing? Were you the one that went off script?
The
Because
derailer.
that's the reason. The reason that there were people on the side of the road, the reason there were air traffic controllers, the reason you must have gotten called into an office was you went off script, didn't you? You want to describe that?
I did go off script. Dave, April 1st had no real practical joke plan. He said, I know, what if we land the space shuttle? What if we land the space shuttle at Montgomery Field? Right? And the space shuttle, when it sets down in Edwards, they've got a 10-mile runway on that thing, just in case, because the thing comes in hot and it, So, well, we're going to land it at Montgomery. And so we had this listening into the shuttle audio, and Cookie was mission control. And I'm sorry, Cookie was the commander of the shuttle, and I was in mission control. And I asked him, could you give us a reading of the temperature of the tiles?
Where did you come?
That's a Boyer question.
Where the hell did that come from?
That's Boyer. I used to listen to shuttle audio.
Awesome.
And that was one of the questions. I swear. And I went back and I reviewed 30 hours of shuttle audio, and I could not find anybody asking about the damn tile temperature in any of the official NASA recordings. And I think they edited it all out just to make me look ridiculous.
And that's the story. That
Yours is.
That was in 93, and that was Dave Rickards' entire design. He wrote the script. Our program director, Clark Ryan at the time, was the guy from NASA who informed him that, yes, due to circumstances out at what was the place in the desert where the shuttle landed?
Yeah, right.
Edwards.
Edwards Air Force. It's not available because so we're landing the space shuttle today at Montgomery Field, which is a Cessna-sized airport right above, iHeart right now, as we know.
There.
And obviously way too short for the space shuttle.
Yeah.
But people bought it.
Oh man, I bought it because you sold it so well.
And Rickards and I was the space shuttle captain, whoever it was, and, all that stuff. Rickards had the whole script laid out, and
and I understand it was a very simple bit, actually.
Very simple bit, and hundreds, if not maybe knocking on 1,000 or two people showed up out at
Montgomery
Field, and Rich Barrow was on the scene. Yes, there's people here. We can see the light of the sky.
Did you guys get called in for that one?
Yes, we did.
It's some police activity, and they wanted us to refrain from doing that sort of thing ever again. And I'm not sure what went on behind closed doors. I didn't have to worry my pretty little head about it, so I did not.
Just going home.
But I think it was frowned upon. And I know, because I was there, we were called into countless meetings, the three of us, Dave, Cookie, and me. And
you think, what am I doing here?
well, one of the vice presidents said, now the next time you have an idea like this, just give me a call.
Run it by me.
Run it by me.
You know, we're very upset about this unbelievable, unprecedented publicity you've gained for us. But we got a call from the police who are a bit concerned about this or that. So please, next time you have an idea like this, run it past us first so we can decline you and fire you first. Yeah, and we're just going, what?
Wow.
And so that's what happened then.
Go get some ratings. Now we got them.
Yeah, right.
Shame on you.
We inconvenienced you for a half a day, and we got you on what is still considered, even on somebody had a list of greatest all-time pranks in all of history, and it was like number 37 or 38 of all time in American history.
Incredible.
On the air with Sully, Little Tommy, and Rusty Nailz, and I love the fact that we play live local music right here on that set right there.
You know who's never been in that set?
Who?
You, the Sully band?
I never got to play on my own show.
Well, their manager,
I'm sorry, our own show.
Manager is such a jerk.
You know what? Let's get to the music.
Yeah.
Let's do it. The music.
I give myself to the world, laid out with the world. It's in the air, we're all just singing along here together. Flowing gently down the stream. Oh, how life was born a dream. Sold by the billions, living free. No duality between you and me. Oh, feel the energy and just let it be. I give myself to the world, let it out with the world. 'Cause I know we're all just singing along here together. I give myself to the world, let it out with the world. 'Cause in the air we're all just singing along here together. Give myself to the world, let it out with the world. 'Cause I know we're all just singing along here together. I give myself to the world, let it out with the world. 'Cause in the end we're all just singing along, all just singing along here together. Yeah, da, 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 da.
Hey, more DSC on OTA on KUSI coming up.
OMG.
See what I did there? Hey, on the air, Sully, Little Tommy, Rusty Nailz. Great to have you along, and you're watching the best of as we feature the DSC. One of the greatest guys I've ever met in my life, not just in radio, but overall. Right. Dave Rickards.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to be Dave Rickards? I want to be Dave Rickards.
I want to be Dave.
This is from our time with Dave. Coming up. Enjoy this.
Partner.
How could you forget that memorable moment when Dave Dave, if you ever interviewed a guest, this happened a couple times to Russ and I. You interview a guest and it's just not the person you thought it was going to be, better or for worse. Anything stick out?
Yeah, I've had some that went sideways, but other people are, for the most part, as you probably know, they're so good, they're so generous. We got the big get one time. We got Paul McCartney to be on our show, and Paul was coming to town, and it literally became this moment on the show where we didn't think we were going to be able to get him off the show. We couldn't get the guy. And now he's launched into a news story about how much
we're at the end of the long and winding road.
We even had to take a break for a contest, and he stayed on, wanted to win $1,000. He was lovely. He's just like you see on every show you've seen him on.
That's
so
fantastic.
they've all been great.
So we were talking about Puddin Pants, which was, as a listener, between the April Fool's thing and Puddin Pants. Those are two of my favorite. Can you explain for us, please? For if you didn't know what Puddin Pants was, Operation Puddin Pants was fantastic. Had to do with a diaper and a trampoline.
We were invited to do our show on the flight deck of the mighty USS Tarawa, which is to be as short as possible on a story, almost an aircraft carrier, one of the little shorter aircraft carriers. And we were asked to do the show from the flight deck down there. And that was super cool. We had to do that. We wanted a military operation, so we decided to conduct Operation Puddin Pants, which was a complex military operation which involved Abramowitz jumping off the bridge of the Tarawa onto a trampoline in a diaper that was holding 20 gallons of Costco chocolate pudding.
Sure.
Because we knew it would all over the place. And it did. It went off flawlessly. Mission accomplished. That was the original mission accomplished.
Stand down.
You got paid for that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
You got a paycheck that Friday.
The Tarawa guys were great. Those are two of our favorite shows, doing flight deck show from Tarawa.
So it's 2020, and you are celebrating 30 years in San Diego.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Because that's hard. You know, being on a radio show for 2 years is hard. You know, it's like being in a rock band. You're going to have fights. You're going to have disagreements. Yeah. How did you, Dave Rickards, lead your team into 2020 where you're celebrating 30 years?
I think you would probably agree with this. We got there through a lot of really good luck and very generous employers who gave us a chance and continue to give us a chance and continue to warmly welcome us into their buildings and let us do our thing. Yeah. And an audience that's really super loyal to us, that likes what we do.
That's cute.
But I mean, it's luck. It is pure luck because, like you said, I mean, I never worked in a city for more than 2 years before I came here. It was 2 years Indy, 2 years Chicago.
That was
2
radio,
years
then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it still
is.
is.
One place, you're building a resume and you're mailing it off to the next city you want to go to because
it still is. I mean, you know, just last month, this industry suffered terrible layoffs from really successful people who had good ratings, and it just doesn't make any sense other than
money.
Just costs too much money.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember somehow, some way, someone said, "Oh my gosh, they were talking about you on DSC this morning." I'm like, okay, they got my ears going, and somehow you guys asked me to come on the air one time, and it was like, and now that I've been in the business a long time, that really launched. Suddenly I had a whole new audience because my show was sort of middays. You guys were, it didn't take anything away from anybody, but I have to tell you, you helped launch me. That show itself helped launch me.
Oh, I'm glad
in the
because
business thing.
You needed to be heard by people.
Well, I appreciate
mean, you've
that.
got a great product. And Tommy, you touched on this a little bit, and you were saying that you know, you listen to people and steal from things. Don't we all? We're all influenced by people. We all do what we grew up with. So, I mean, I've got guys back in Illinois that I
hope you never run into?
No, I have gotten a chance to run into them, and these were my heroes, and it was great. I got to meet Fred Winston one time from WLS back in the 1970s in Chicago, and he was so generous, and he sat down with us, and he talked to me for 2 hours. He worked with my dad. I think he felt like he owed it to me, but...
So your dad was in the business?
Oh, my dad was in radio for years and years in Chicago and Boston and whatnot, and he's the reason I'm in. I would go to work with my father.
Sure.
Watch him, admire him, and he was so good to me. He would take me to work, and just a little twerp, annoying little kid, and he would do the same thing with my brother. My brother and I both went into radio.
Did he put you on the air ever? Get to hear your voice
my
later
father,
or something like that?
Little Dave Rickards.
Yeah, well,
Little Davey.
There was a time where there was about a 2 or 3 week period where my father was made interim program director of this Chicago radio station. It's a big Chicago radio station. And he said, we have a need for a guy to be on the air tonight. I was 16 years old, and he put me on in the middle of the night. And I'll never have a bigger gig than that one in my entire life.
Puberty during your first time on the air. It doesn't ever go.
So do you remember your first song and all that stuff?
No, I don't. Because I was so nervous. That whole thing is just a blur to me. But just to be 16 and on the radio in a major market like that, I mean,
Will you tell
my father did that for me. But guys do that. You know, they give each other exposure and breaks.
Yeah.
And when you have the chance to do that, there is nothing more rewarding than to be able to open a door for
I will tell you, I don't think I would be doing the San Diego Morning News or my afternoon gig or even the Big Biz Show were it not for guys like you that literally said, hey, you got to listen to these guys, because the three of you have a big footprint. And of course, when you're in the business, you're in a dark little room and you're talking into a mic. There's no instant feedback, and you get the feedback later when somebody comes up and pats you on the back, or these days you get an email. But it really was career changing for me. I heard Cookie one time tell me a story about him driving up the 5 freeway, looking for the guy to drive the bus on what is currently now Dave, Shelley, and Chainsaw. He passed Loma Santa Fe exit and was listening to a tape that some kid from Chicago sent him, and that was it. Can you tell that side of the story for you and how you guys got? Have you heard that side of the story?
He has told me that story. Yeah, he said he was a little frustrated.
Because I think,
you know this.
Yeah,
you know the story very well.
Were you on the short list?
It was Bergen Prescott
Sure.
with Cookie, and 91X decided, Russ is kind of funny, but he really could use some talent around him. So they hired the best two guys, I think, at the time, Bergen and Prescott, to come over to 91X. Well, that was a big to-do, and I'm like, okay, that sounds fun, because I listen to them, and I'm not listening to myself. And sure enough, they came over there. Cookie was left just Cookie alone, and he had to find the rest of the new Bergen Prescott.
Yeah, they told him, go find your new show.
Yeah.
He found Shelley like that, who retired from our show a year or two ago, but was with us for about 28 years. They had been working together in Arizona. He knew he wanted her immediately, didn't know who he wanted for the guy. They had put an ad out in the newspaper. I was busy out in Denver getting fired out there.
Sure.
So I had been out here with my wife on vacation. I listen to radio stations when I'm on vacation. We were supposed to go to LA. We couldn't get there. We went to San Diego instead. I heard this KGB radio station. It was nothing like I'd ever heard anywhere in my life. I grew up in the Midwest. I was never going to California. Oh, fruits and nuts, son.
Granola state.
Forget it. You don't want anything to do with them. I was never going to live west of the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I'm in Denver, and that was bombing out, and then there was an ad in Radio and Records newspaper for a morning show.
Might as well.
And I'll tell you, I thought, all right, I'll answer this ad against my better judgment, because I had already answered an ad for a morning radio show at Y95, but two other jerks got in before me. And I'm not kidding.
Wow. Okay,
These guys got the job of the first radio station I applied for here in San Diego.
I didn't know that.
Oh, that is a true
Imagine
story.
living when you could go to the classifieds and say, what do I want to do for a living?
Yeah,
They're looking for a morning show in San Diego. I think
Yeah.
I'll head that way.
So
Yeah.
April 1st, 1990, the Dawn Patrol starts here in San Diego.
Yeah.
Now it's 2020. You got Dave Rickards. You got Cookie. You got Chris Boyer. You got Anna. You got Sarah.
It's Anna.
Oh, yeah. Anna. You got Sarah Beebe, your producer.
Yeah.
And you got Emily.
Right.
Now, for many years, you had Shelley.
Yeah.
Was it hard when she retired?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Shelley was my work wife for 27, 28 years.
Plus, there was the S and the DSC thing you had to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, Emily's nickname has always been Suave, so
Close.
Perfect.
Yeah.
you know, it's a
I'm gonna say
brand,
get it
whatever.
cool. Could you imagine?
We didn't think anyone would notice.
No.
SEC, whatever.
It was brilliant to keep the DSC.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's the brand.
A lot
name.
of brand equity there. Right.
Right.
And coming up next, more DSC on the air with Sully, Little Tommy, and Rusty Nailz.
And Shelley Dunn. She's coming next.
On the air with Sully, Little Tommy, and me, Rusty Nailz. The DSC, we're highlighting from a couple interviews we've done with all of them, the D, the S, the C, but they kissed their S goodbye. Hey, everybody. Shelley's out, but the DSC is still around. Anyway, Shelley Dunn, the voice, the laugh. I love this lady.
Yes.
And here's,
icon.
Here's a little look back at Shelley on the air.
I'm going to assume a successful morning show like Dave, Shelley, and Chainsaw, DSC, every time you jumped, you probably jumped in salary as well.
Well, we wouldn't want to jump backwards, would we?
But I mean,
genius. That's why it's in the Hall of Fame of radio, baby.
You can have that one, Sully.
But wait a minute. But it was funny money. Yeah. I just want to ask you, when that time came when you were handed a piece of paper and you looked at those numbers,
and you're making the cake, the big balloons,
was
the
it
goods.
like, was there ever like jump on the bed, happiness? I mean, because
if it's like every other CEO I've asked that question to, it was this. When are they going to catch on?
But I mean, because you're a successful morning show, you're jumping stations, and you're getting paid for being so great. What was that like? Because I'm assuming you had great contracts.
Well, everything was very gradual for me.
Yes.
And we always negotiated independently, which is fine. It's like, okay, great.
That's really, I have to say this, that's really an important factor, because when people, and I will tell you, I talk about this about publicly traded companies, I talk about this about entertainment and businesses. It's never en masse when you're negotiating contracts. And people think that staffs get paid en masse, C-level executives get paid en masse, radio shows get paid en masse. It's basically you're on your own, which is why, Russ is an hourly worker. He won't be here in the last segment because we only afford to pay him for 4 of the 5 segments.
It's also why Scottie Pippen is kind of pissed off.
Can hardly blame the guy.
Well,
I will say this. I think that things did happen more gradually for me, but it was all good. I mean, there's a reason I retired at 58 and some change.
Right.
Because things just started. And I've got that practical Oklahoma background where Daddy said, he would call all the time, I hope you're saving some money.
Yeah.
I hope, no, Dad, I'm buying bubble gum and hairspray, and that's it.
Well, actually, I saw you put out some money at a Helen Woodward fundraiser, and I know you love that group.
Well, Mark and I actually...
Mark Mathis?
Yes.
Yeah.
We would co-host the gala event. In fact, up until last year, and he was very hurt. He's I can't believe you're not here. And I'm like, Mark, I'm retired. I'm here to have fun.
You'd still be a big draw here. But you ended up buying a couple items like
we had
trips, and I'm thinking she's got to be getting out of radio. She's got to live in she's got a house in the Caribbean for 2 years.
We love Palm Springs, and Dean at one time was a really huge golfer. It's true. He had a bad car wreck, and which was also one of the reasons that we decided, you know what, if you have the opportunity, maybe take it right now to retire and really enjoy life. He knew that I was miserable waking up at 4 a.m.
Okay,
now, once
so
I got there, it was great.
Let's talk about that, because you woke up at 4 a.m. for decades. Okay.
Sometimes earlier, but
And that never really leaves you. Doesn't leave you on Saturday. I can tell you. Listen, being part of the Koga Morning Show, I can tell you.
Right.
It doesn't leave you on Sunday or Memorial Day or when you're on vacation.
And then on Sunday night, you'll wake up at 2 a.m. because I got Monday coming up.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, well, that screwed up my, the 7 hours of sleep I was going to get.
Was that one of the best benefits from not working? Was being able just to say, I'm not getting up?
Only reason I'm not working.
Yeah.
Swear to God.
You roll over at 6 a.m. and you think,
I slept in. This feels great.
Do you miss it?
I miss it. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I absolutely do. In fact, my husband, because he's been working from home a little bit, and he'll go, well, you wake up and listen to the show. And I'm like, yeah, at 8 o'clock when it sounds really great to me.
Right. I was just going to ask you that, though. What is it like listening to your show? Because you're listening to your show. DSC. And you're listening to, it is your show still. I think people, when they listen to I will tell you this, even though you're retired, and even though Emily's doing a fantastic job.
Yes, she is.
We still think, when I hear DSC, every single day I hear it, I still think of you. So this is still your show.
That.
But so what is it like for you, though, to go, is it hard? Is it like, not at all, huh?
No. Well, the hardest thing is to not pick up the phone and go, hey, That's not true.
Yeah.
But it's, when you give that up, it's like that's their show now. And Emily and Sarah are doing great. And I think that it's changed a little bit of the dynamic. It's always going to be Dave and Cookie.
Yeah.
But these are young women in their 30s who have children. And I never brought that. Probably thank God. I'm sure that would.
I wonder if that brings a different audience to DSC.
I do too.
Or I wonder if it brings like because
I'm sure it
I
does.
start thinking, things like Barry Manilow concert. You got a 3-year-old and a 93-year-old, right? And obviously, as you're getting older in radio, your audience is following you. I mean, look at Rush Limbaugh, for example.
Right.
His audience is shrinking because, people are dying.
They're dying.
But I mean, I wonder if that helps that younger demographic.
I don't think it could hurt. And again, I don't really look at ratings, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You might know.
I think Tommy knows.
Well, first of all,
Tommy knows it all.
Radio Hall of Fame, by the way.
Hold on here.
Producer, the only producer.
But props to Emily McGuire.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her because, she probably got a phone call, from Dave saying, "Hey, Shelley's gonna leave. It's you."
I guess we're gonna.
What was it like for Emily? Can you tell us about
that? This is called The Art of the Tease in AM radio.
And FM.
She said no, but she ended up saying yes. I'll tell you who it is. News Radio 600 Coast. On the air, Shelley Dunn.
I want the laugh. I want to put the laugh in a can so I can play it every time I need someone laughing.
I'll give you my number. You can call me after 8 a.m.
Okay. Don't wake me.
It's on the air. Sully, little Tommy, Russ, and Nailz. Happy holidays. We're covering DSC, and who could forget?
Oh, Chris Boyer is coming.
We should have a Chris Boyer imitation.
Yes, really. But he'll be here right with us on the air.
With his drums.
Right now. On the air. Sully, little Tommy, Rusty, Nailz.
Do you agree? Do you agree that
Probably not.
Chris Boyer is probably the most famous drummer that doesn't know how to drum?
He has no idea even how to do.
There's an app for his skill. No, he's great, and this guy is so funny and sarcastic. I love sarcasm.
And a little ticked off.
A little pissed at the world.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't have a show with DSC without
The Boyer. His letter isn't representative.
It should be. It should be. It should be. It's the Boyer.
Yeah, you can listen to that all night long. When I think of drums and morning radio, this guy.
Oh, yeah. If I may, can I have the honor of introducing him?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the undisputed #1 morning show in San Diego history, from the DSC Show, from Dave, Shelley, and Chainsaw, from the Dawn Patrol, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite member, Mr. Chris Boyer. Chris Boyer.
Come on. Hello.
And warm your chair.
Russ, thank you.
Great
I'll
to see you, sir.
sterilize it and sit on down. Do we have...
You smart aleck.
Chris Boyer.
the most
Tommy.
recognized voice in San Diego radio by a lot.
I thought it was great. Tommy referred to me as a member, and I've been called that before. Thank you. I'm here all week.
Let me tell you
Try
this.
the clams.
You know what? You guys are celebrating 30 years in San Diego as a top #1 morning radio show. Not many people can say that. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. From a Hall of Famer, it's...
Yeah.
Oh my
got
God.
the trophy and everything.
Jeez.
Well, hey,
Is that the one that's spelled correctly, or did you have
This is the misspelled one.
Is it Hall of Famer or something?
So April 1st, 1990 is a huge date for you. That's when you guys started.
Right.
But prior to that, prior to Cookie calling you and stuff, what were you doing before they needed a morning show on KGB?
Wow, just a lot of boring stuff. I was in the building. I started there in 1985. I'd gone to Grossmont College because,
Go Griffin.
You know how long Grossmont College has been in San Diego?
Well, I don't know where it
Like
was
the
before
20s.
then, but I'm guessing. Yeah.
So that's one of the oldest high schools around, and one of the colleges around.
Yeah. So when you have no ambition,
Right.
and a bit of a desire to be in broadcast, you can go to Grossmont. And my dad taught there because after he got fired from Channel 10, he taught Broadcast 101 there. So I still knew some of the teachers who were currently teaching when I graduated.
Wow.
And so I studied under the great Rob Branch, and Don Settle was there.
I see, yes.
And I took that as a cue. I called John Barcroft at KGB.
Yeah.
We needed some carts at the college. I said, John, how do you, the tapes they used to put commercials on? where do you get your parts for those? And he goes, well, look, kid, you want to come in and build 100 for the college and build 100 for me, and that'll pay for them, and you can sell them to the college, and there you go. So I started out by being this utility guy doing this essentially meaningless job at KGB in 1984.
You're too smart
You're
for
a
the
cart
gig.
boy.
I was a cart boy.
Yeah, I think
That's
you're too
great.
smart for the gig.
I was Mr. Cart.
Now you're an icon, from carts to being iconic.
What is it like, Chris Boyer, to be behind the scenes on that show? Because I know Dave personally, I know Cookie personally, I don't know Emily and Sarah very well, but I mean, you've been through the whole thing. Is it the same off the air as it is on the air? Because it feels like you guys are family, it feels like you guys are, and as a guest, it feels the same way too.
Good. I'm glad about that. We should be nice to our guests because they're kind enough to give us their time.
Right.
I will tell you that people say, wow, Dave's a little hard on you. At 10 o'clock, he is truly the nicest guy that you could possibly imagine.
Dave's been pretty hard on you lately.
That's all right. That's all right. You know what?
Fun. It's almost like watching The Office. It's almost uncomfortably hard on you for saying some things.
I deserve it, probably.
Yeah, well,
He
And
is
if
the
I
world's
don't-
nicest guy, though. He
And
really is.
if I don't, I get the check every 2 weeks.
Right,
and they don't bounce.
Does that help thicken the skin a little bit? The nice
Oh.
paycheck at the end of the line.
It's really, because I am not qualified to do anything else.
Yeah.
So when I'm out of this, it's like, oh man, I've got some real
Well, I
scrambling to
believe
do.
that I think you could be a handyman. You wrench on cars. I think you could make a living. Your dad always said learn a trade, and you did.
Yeah, my grandfather was a mechanic, and my dad could bruise his knuckles changing a light bulb. So there was a
little gap in the generation.
what happened.
When I think about Chris Boyer, here's what I think about. I think every morning between the year 2005 to 2009, we would drive up to Clear Channel at the same time, like at 5 a.m. We would be at the same red light at the same time.
Oh, that's awkward.
I'd be in the left in like a minivan, and you'd be on the right at the red light
In the
next
same
to
car
me,
he rode at the El Cajon Speedway.
next to me in a hot rod, and we didn't look at each other because we kind of were in competition.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, I didn't like you, and you probably didn't like me, but we just wanted to beat each other. But when that red light turned green, you became Richard Petty.
Okay, hold on.
That's the
I have a comment. First of all, I will tell you, anyone who's in radio in the morning who drives up at the same time has had an experience with Chris Boyer either right behind them or right in front of them.
Nearby.
I've never taken so much crap in my life for at some point in my career I drove a fast car and I was not driving fast enough. And he was even in front of me. And it was because you're a race car driver.
Sully, you spend a lot of money on that thing to do 30 miles an hour.
Chris, tell me about El Cajon Speedway, because my memories of you when I first heard you on the radio was always talking about, and it wasn't Demolition Derby, was it? Or was it Demolition Derby?
Well, they had demolition derbies there, and
But you were racing.
some nights those events in the bomber division felt like a demolition derby. But I got called in '94. Dave did. They said, how would you like to do a celebrity DJ race? And Dave said, I would like that very much. And can we get a car for Boyer? And so the woman who was putting this whole thing together, Jody said, yeah, let me see what we can do. So I got to drive Randy Wallace's car, the 529, in the celebrity race, and he was like top 5 in points. And I'm racing against a bunch of hack DJs, and I was doing a little autocross. I wasn't good at it, but at least I wasn't afraid of the loud pedal. And so
That's the loud pedal, yeah.
Right?
What do they call a gas pedal in an electric car, by the way? It can't be the same thing. Go ahead.
the boredom device.
Yeah.
So question about the DSC, celebrating 30 years on 101.5 KGB.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. My show that I was on lasted 28 years.
That's a good run, man. And you guys were.
My question is, how are you guys doing it? How did you do it? How are you going beyond 30 years together as a morning show? Because it is like being in a rock band.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of egos, there's a lot of, temperaments, there's everything.
But the same drummer.
Same drummer, right. It's not like Spinal Tap where they've had 38 drummers and one of them combusted spontaneously.
But I want to know, for a lot of morning shows that may be watching right now that have like 2 or 3 years under them, how did you guys do it?
I'm very lucky to work with people who are total professionals. They understand the business. They understand it's about providing a unique experience for the listener and keeping the audience and then just holding it together and doing your very best and putting in the hours. I mean, Dave and Cookie really do work. And it's not magic. There's a lot of work there.
Meanwhile, in the national
Skip all association.
Oh, you're supposed to say.
Oh, that's
and then you say Cookie Sing.
All right, we'll do it again.
Okay.
We'll pick it up. Here we go.
Meanwhile,
in the national back.
Hey, here's Cookie Chainsaw Randolph.
Skip all association. Cookie from the DSC. OMG.
Your favorite song?
There he is. Nice. Look at him. Running down the hall. Into the arena.
There he is. You must remember Puddin Pants.
Oh my God!
The greatest live remote. Was that like one of the top 3 live?
It had to have been.
Oh, that was.
Yeah, there were so many.
And I don't know. I want to know how this started. Is when you talk about the NBA.
Yeah.
You do this thing that you started the show with today.
Right.
How did that start? How did the national bat start?
Well, the Cookie Randolph character, as it were, is kind of a combination of a Dick Enberg, Al Michaels from way back. You know, that whole pukey, sportscaster guy.
So funny.
And so, meanwhile, in the National Basketball Association, and then I'd tell the story. And then one time we're doing this foodathon, this 30 hours in a row thing, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, an hour 27. And I go, meanwhile, in the National Basketball Association. And then the next hour, I put a little drop in, like a Bill Murray, that's insane. You're crazy. You're stupid.
Yeah.
And then one day, why not do a whole minute-and-a-half comedy bit in there?
Right.
So now, don't tell my bosses, the most talked about bit is when I go, meanwhile, in the National play a minute-and-a-half of an actual good comedian, and then come out of it, skip all association. Yeah. I love that bit. And I'm going, it has nothing to do with me. It's just a gimmick. Yeah, right. So that's how I got it.
It is you.
Can we? One time
I was listening.
Can we?
I didn't even know he was going to do it, and I was listening, as I usually do if I'm up. But I hear my joke come on. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, you were part of that?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Snuck one in.
Snuck one in.
Really?
So visually, I thought, God, if he's here, I got to have one from my little sizzle reel. So
do we
ready in the control room? This is the biggest moment of my life.
Jared Coleman, our director, Curtis Matovich, our assistant director, is in the control room there, and I will tell you,
should be flawless.
Well, it should be flawless.
Should be.
But can you guys pull this on?
Sure, let's do it.
Are you ready?
All right. Meanwhile,
here we go.
All right.
Take one.
In baseball, still nothing. Meanwhile, in the National
This ho-ho-ho has left you wrong. So put your hands together and start to clap. I'm gonna show you how to do the Christmas rap. Go get your gifts, a pair of scissors and a roll of tape. A bag of bows and some paper is all it's gonna take. Wrap a box tight and use some ribbon if they ask what it is. Start fibbing, say, you gotta wait, baby. Like me, to Christmas Day, then we're both gonna see what is in the box underneath the tree.
Skip all association.
Yeah. Wow. I can die.
You know the best part about this show is that you get to watch it happen. You
Oh.
guys don't get to see this. You get to hear this.
great.
That's fantastic.
And I don't get to see it, which I'm glad about. Don't look at the monitor.
Whoa. Oh, my.
You know they call it a confidence monitor, by the way?
Yeah.
You know,
Not used to it.
Cookie Chainsaw Randolph has earned, his stripes.
Yeah.
And he can walk into a radio station. He can at 6 o'clock and do his show. But you know what? He doesn't. That's what I've learned from him.
Oh, I know.
He has the best work ethic. And really, that's what I've learned from you is that you work hard to do that.
When do you get there in the morning?
Early.
I'm saying I'm
Very
going
early.
to call at 3:30.
I'm the first guy in the building there
you?
by
Good.
a few minutes.
Okay.
And it's, yeah.
Yeah, because you can't prep too early for some of this stuff because
No.
it's got to be live and relevant.
And especially now, since there isn't much sports, so you're kind of making chicken salad out of chicken feathers.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and so I'm just looking for stories to fill that 6-minute break. for Dave, with prepared content so that he can gather his next segment.
Because we don't hear on air with Dave and Shelley, or whoever the on the air now with, but
Emily,
Emily, and you're off in your own studio producing your element, right?
But I'm still present with them.
We're hearing
and and it's during those commercials, so that I got to hit the can real fast and get back. And those commercials are precious to prepare for the next, because I do 1 an hour.
All right. Enough yammering. Boy, that's the ghosts of guest cast.
What?
See what it is?
A Christmassy thing. Yeah.
I enjoyed today.
I did too. First of all, I usually sit and watch myself on TV when I'm not on the air.
Yeah.
So it's nice to watch, Dave Rickards and Shelley Dunn.
You know what?
Chainsaw Randolph and David Boyer.
The DSC.
Is it David Boyer, by the way?
What? No.
The DSC, probably what I think the second best morning show ever in history.
Who would you think would be the first?
The show with Eddie, Sky, Thor, and Emily, which will be on the air on the best of.
Is that next week?
That's next week. But the DSC, the undisputed, and I mean this seriously, the undisputed best morning show ever in San Diego.
For a long time.
And I say that so mad.
There's such bitterness in my voice.
Enough yammering. Next week, the show.
Yes.
Rock 105.3
Eddie.
on the air. And catch RussIsFunny.com because
RussIsFatandBald.com was taken.
Catch Tommy every morning on the Good Morning San Diego. And I'm
That's Sully.
no, apparently not even invited to play it.
Damn party!